Okay, I want to start out by saying I have mad respect for the Kumite and Andy Worski's slums. But internet blood sports is kind of a new YouTube craze. It's sweeping the commentator space here on YouTube. And in most cases, they seem to be kind of loud, unmoderated arguments that oftentimes can appear under the guise of debate, but they're drawing record numbers. I, for one, am very happy for these creators, but like anything new, it has a very long way to go in terms of being anything useful long term. Sure, it can be fun for now and entertaining, and that can be fine. Not everything has to be some crazy big scheme, you know? But I, like many, started, being utterly engrossed in these debate-style shows. So kind of fooling myself into thinking I was watching something that would possibly move the conversation forward, something that would be interesting and thought-provoking. But then after about a week or so, I started to notice a pattern. I was basically watching Jerry Springer. I was watching Maury Povich. But instead of which one of these 30 guys are perhaps this baby's daddy, regardless of somebody being 10,000% sure or being kicked by a horse when they were young, they were talking about the white ethno-state. It's essentially trash TV. Now, trash TV is still very popular. It's extraordinarily popular. I mean, Jerry Springer was probably one of the most popular shows on TV for a very long time. So let's be very clear before anyone sees this as an attack. It really couldn't be further from it. Like I said, trash TV is basically the single most popular type of television out there, and people watch it for a reason. I 100% respect the hustle. It's just not for me personally. I do see great potential in this format. Now, don't get me wrong. I respect shows like Worski Live and The Morning Kumite, who have amassed audiences far larger than even I could dream of in terms of live streaming. And in a lot of ways, they have pioneered this type of content. I mean, sure, Hangouts have existed for basically forever, but you just never saw them reaching thousands of concurrent viewers at a single time until recently. Hell, the Sargon of Akkad and Richard Spencer debate shit show was one of the top trending live streams. And at that moment, I felt really proud for Andy and what he had built, and for the community of commentators, basically. I felt really proud to be a part of that community, however small I may be. And they had taken something as mundane as the Google Hangout and turned it into basically must-see TV for a lot of people. I'm sure it must appear like sour grapes on the new hot thing, but I assure you my intentions are pure. I want these shows to continue to last, to continue to grow. I'm not saying anything in this video that I haven't tried to convey to Andy directly in DMs. I told him spending time arguing with people was not a good use of his time, that, at least in my opinion, he should focus on really taking his show to the next level. But who the fuck am I? I mean, I've never had 8,000 people watching my show, so I don't expect anyone to directly listen to any feedback. I'm just a viewer. I'm just a fan. But I want to offer some constructive criticisms here and not just dump on the negatives, because I think in order to have a good faith conversation, I need to, do that. These shows, what has been amazing about these shows is that they've basically brought back old school radio. They've mobilized large groups of people to tune in and to what is at least billed as some sort of political debate or just debate in general. That's no small feat in today's Jake Paul fidget spinner YouTube. These shows are, another thing is these shows are generating large sums of finances, something I see as a very good thing because it's going to incentivize more talent to enter the space. The more people that enter this space, the live stream debate, it's going to create competition. And competition breeds better quality. The more people that come into this space, the higher quality production we're going to see, the harder it's going to push guys like Worski or Tonka Saw, two guys that I enjoy their shows. But right now, they're kind of the only two out there doing it. We need more competition to force them, to push them to be better. And in order to get like a Dave Rubin-like set, you need money. You need money to attract talent. And so clearly, money talks and people are interested. The large audiences also prove the concept for others. As I see it right now, in terms of debate, we have Dave Rubin's Pillow Fort and Internet Blood Sports. I actually think there's a huge opportunity in the middle for somebody to move in the middle, a moderate alternative. Who that person is, I don't know. Don't think it's me, but I look forward to watching whoever that is. I'm actually really excited as the prospect of essentially people in the space running their own live television-like shows and to have them backed entirely by fans means in a lot of ways there's a moat. They're protected. Demonetization no longer has to be on the large creators' minds because we have proof of concept that the viewers are willing to help offset the cost of the show and to support the show. Now, in my opinion, my opinion soured generally on the shows is when I started to think about, when I started to think about why that might be. Now, maybe I'm just in the minority, but I figured rather than just being a customer that stops showing up, because that's what most people do, right? They don't like your content, and so they don't watch it anymore. And I know for a fact the last critique video I did, Andy told me personally that he watched and he took some of the things I said to heart. I wasn't right about everything, just like I won't be right about everything in this video. But I noticed a trend, and I wanted to give feedback because it's easy just to dump on it. And again, I'm trying to be humble in that it's just one man's opinion, and I don't really know how many people agree or disagree with me. So certainly the comments of this video will tell me that. But I kind of noticed a lot of pseudo-intellectualism. Now, I'm not a genius myself, and so I'm trying not to be judgmental. But what I am capable of is telling when somebody's talking out of their ass. And this can be entertaining for arguments from time to time, but too often I see two opposing views pitted against each other, and neither of them know what the hell they're even talking about. It's like watching two idiots at the bar argue about quantum physics theories that they learned by watching Rick and Morty combined with the Big Bang Theory. This sort of level of intellect, I think, has to get better. And it also comes down to intellectual honesty. No one's ever willing to say, I'm not so sure about that. They speak in absolutes. And as a viewer, I find myself, I'm at a computer watching the show. I can easily fact check. So in the moment, I understand not having a statistic or a fact off the top of your head, but there's something to preparation that could happen to these shows. The other thing that really soured me is people obsessing over, quote, winning the argument. People seem to be more concerned with winning arguments than informing the audience and trying to win the audience over. This is really degenerative behavior, in my opinion, for the future of these shows. People LARPing as intellectuals, having to rely entirely on gotcha tactics and semantics is really disappointing. This isn't to cast aspersions on anybody who's been on these shows. I think they're all, for the most part, very smart people and perhaps just underprepared, and then they have to rely on that. But arguing over the definition of what soon means is super low intellect and just not interesting to me. Resorting to releasing personal conversation is also kind of a low-class move, in my opinion. I don't release personal Skype conversations or DMs unless it's to stop personal harm. That's just me. There has to be some lines, at least in my opinion. There has to be some honor, but it appears as though there really is no honor in internet blood sports. Let me give you an example. On the recent debate ran on Baked Alaska's channel, which, by the way, Baked Alaska is a terrible moderator. He shouldn't be moderating debates at all. He has a clear bias. So you can't really demand respect as a moderator if you're clear about your bias, but that's neither here nor there. When a large portion of the time was spent with basically low-level semantic arguments. It started off with Sargon of Akkad and Baked Alaska arguing over whether he had agreed to a debate or a conversation. And I found myself actually literally face-palming for everyone involved, for people who are watching, for the people who are on the show. This wouldn't really be an issue if people didn't use that word interchangeably, but they do. Warski Live is often referred to as a debate, and it almost never is. Morning Kumite often, maybe not by them, maybe not by Andy himself or the viewers, but we, the viewers, are use that word debate interchangeably, and I don't think anyone can really know what somebody means when they say debate unless they ask for clarity, but nobody wants that. They wanted to jump all over Sargon because he used the word debate. It's stupid. It wasted everybody's time, and it's an exact microcosm of exactly what I'm talking about these debates. They seem to rely exclusively on semantics of what people say in order to win, depending on gotcha moments and to make each other look bad rather than actually discussing a particularly useful topic. I find well-moderated debates very interesting, but maybe that's just low audience. It probably is. We all misspeak. We all use the wrong words from time to time. But if my opponent is constantly trying to use a word I said against me, or if I misspoke and didn't correct it to, quote, gain some sort of leverage over me in a debate, that's not really debating, honestly, in my opinion. It's not really productive. And it seems like a lot of the people involved in this are like a dog with a bone with winning. They don't ever leave it be. They'll catch somebody in a gotcha moment and then waste a half an hour arguing about what the definition of is, and I don't really find that very interesting, and it just turns into a pissing match. The thirst to be right really drives a lot of these people that get involved in these debates, and it's not in the interest of honest conversations, in my opinion. It's just not constructive. It's like an addiction. Being right. I saw two people I really respected reduced down to petty arguing and name-calling the other day. And it was, for me, kind of the final straw. When Andy Warski, somebody I consider at least a positive acquaintance, I don't want to call him a friend, but we are friendly, bring up personal Skype conversations for everyone to see, to try and win an argument on the definition of what Sargon meant by soon. I'm not kidding. He opened up his screen share, shared the personal conversation that him and Sargon had in order to try and gotcha Sargon into saying that Carl had agreed to debate Richard Spencer. Now, if you read the conversation, at no point in that conversation did it say, I agree to do it. He said, soon. How it read to me was, sure, I'll do it when I get time. Sure, coming on your show. I mean, if you're approaching this in an intellectually honest way, it's possible that Carl really wasn't interested in it and he respected Andy and just didn't want to say no. It's also possible that he was legitimately busy. I mean, he's got a channel with 750,000 subscribers. He's got other stuff going on. But it was just very far from any kind of concrete commitment. And Andy and others are being intellectually dishonest, just wanting to gotcha him. It was basically Andy and Baked Alaska and Andrew and everybody trying to gotcha him the whole time, when we could have been watching a conversation, but everyone was so caught up on the definition of words that it was just really stupid. You get stuck in this mode where you can't really see anything you can't understand nuance. It's either right or wrong, black or white, 100%. It's all about winning, and it's all about proving people wrong and being the one who's right, and not about advancing any conversation at all. And I actually think that will be the death nail in this live show format if they don't, at least once in a while, try to have real conversations. You know, having 8 people on a live stream all screaming at each other, that's, I mean, I guess call it what it is then. It's not a debate. You're not really doing anything righteous. You're just Jerry Springer. You know, moderation, the third piece of advice I have is moderation needs to improve. Now, this one I think is totally reasonable to give time. I have a lot more leeway for that. I think Andy in particular could get a lot stronger in his moderation skills, but I have seen him improving. But this is a personal skill that needs to be developed. I think people need to watch real life moderators that do good jobs. Ruben is terrible at it. When the poop starts to fly, he can't take control of people. Andy doesn't either doesn't want to because he knows it's good entertainment, or he can't. If you're going to host a debate, it's your house. You have a mute button, and you need to use it when people are getting off topic or getting personal. I think a lot of this could be avoided if the shows were outlined ahead of time. I don't know for a fact that they don't do that and that they're just going off script, but I suspect they're not. And maybe that'd be a piece of a helpful piece of advice to outline things. Maybe they do. I don't know. It doesn't appear like they do. They don't really follow a concrete. It just kind of meanders all over the place. And I think a moderator taking control and saying like, hey, everyone shut up for a minute, let's get back on topic, would be way more productive. I know it's exciting to get some of these big names on the show. I mean, I'm not too cool to admit that I would be probably a little starstruck if I had like Lauren Southern on my hanging out and stuff like that, and Sargon and all these people. But this is what you sign up for. You have to take control. It's your house. You can't let people come in and piss all over the rug. I offer this advice as a fan and in good faith. I want this format to continue to grow. I want Andy, specifically because I know him a little bit better, I want him to be wildly successful. And I think if they don't make some changes to the internet blood sports meme, people are going to get sick of it in a month. The super chats are going to dry up and people are going to move on. But I think there's a real opportunity. I'm so excited to see this genre grow. I know it will. I just hate seeing wasted potential of getting these people kind of in a virtual room together. This is a great tool. Instead of watching them throw chairs at each other, I think we could just do a little bit better reining people in. I mean, I can guarantee you if Andy doesn't do this, somebody else will. And, then again, numbers don't lie, and Worski's doing an amazing thing, and the Morning Kumite is doing great. But how long will that last? I wonder how long everybody's attention span is. How long will it max out? Mine was about a week or two. Maybe yours will be, maybe you've already passed yours. Maybe, you're coming up on it. But, a little bit of planning ahead a couple weeks for topics, not just like, I think the internet's had enough of like the same talking points over and over and over again. I mean, I think that we could get some new blood in here. We could really debate some interesting topics. And I think that the internet blood sports can evolve into something really helpful. But I don't know. What do you think? That's my feedback. No disrespect to the Kumite or to Andy, but I just want to see these shows do a ton better. So I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.